Every day we get closer to this election, there's some crazy news that comes out. Again, I told you it's like throwing noodles on the wall and seeing which one sticks. Well, today we're going to talk about a CIA warning about potential attack on our grid. Now, I've told you before, our grid is very vulnerable, and we need to discuss that. Also, we're going to talk about the fact that now the UK, the people of UK, and really all of Europe, they've just put out a warning, a nuclear warning, to make sure citizens have 72 hours worth of goods and also protection from a nuclear threat. Also, we're going to talk about the stock market, how much money it lost just yesterday. Now, will it rebound today? Probably so. I don't know if it'll rebound that much. But we're going to talk about some numbers about how important it is to make sure that your money is safe as possible when it comes to living here in America. Now, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to tell you what I did for 2024 when it comes to my money, but then I'm also going to tell you what my plan is for 2025. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to The Max. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new to the channel, go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. Remember, today is the first, so we're going to be doing a giveaway at the very end of the video. We're going to be giving away full shirts from us. Also, Mudwater has provided a whole kit for someone, so we're going to be sending out the Mudwater kit along with some soap that my wife made. All this together is about $130, $140 value. Also, we have one more other gift that we're going to throw in there as a little surprise, so you have to wait and see what that is if you win. So again, we will be sending this out to you in the coming days, so we'll talk about the winner that we randomly selected in just a little bit. Now let's dive into these stories because they're very serious. First, we're going to jump into the stock market and money. You know, because we live in this economy, and this economy has pretty much sucked for the last few years, but it doesn't seem like it's getting any better. Now let's talk about what happened yesterday. The stock market lost almost $1 trillion yesterday. $1 trillion. It was like $953 billion worth of loss. The Kobayashi letter said stocks are falling like the economy is bracing for a recession. Bonds are falling like inflation has rebounded. Now, when you start hearing those kind of things, it makes you think, well, for some reason, Biden and Harris keep telling us this economy is phenomenal, but Main Street's not feeling it, and now Wall Street is feeling a major hit. Again, that's why billionaires like Warren Buffett may be pulling out of the market and going more cash. The S&P lost nearly $800 billion in itself in market cap just today. So what that means is your retirement's probably got hit. The fact of any money you had in the stock market got hit. But then guess what? Energy prices and oil prices just went up. So that means it's going to cost more to fill up your tanks now. And it's also going to make all of the supplies that is getting to the grocery cost more as well. Think about that. The stock market tanks, Main Street's feeling inflation. We lowered the rates to hopefully get better housing rates and also better for the economy, and ultimately it didn't help. And now the stock market tanked, and all of a sudden oil prices and inflation is still going up. This is the kind of economy that Harris is running, and this is the kind of economy that will keep on putting us in poverty. I'll talk about what just came out from Zero Hedge. This was an article. Fed's favorite inflation indicator hotter than expected, meaning government handouts are soaring as savings are slumping. People are not having any money. Also, the jobless claims have went up. People are losing their jobs at a crazy rate. Now, what the government will spin and say, well, no, the government is keeping good jobs, and they're making sure they're building an environment for jobs. Well, what they're doing is they're hiring more people and putting more dollars of public money, our taxpayer dollars, to hire individuals, and that is actually what's flubbing those numbers. Brutal. This just came out this morning. It said just 12,000 jobs were created in the last month. Far fewer than 100,000 jobs that economists expected. Now listen to this, 46,000 manufacturer jobs were lost just in October. Does this make you feel better about the economy? 76% of the people, and this is, again, it's funny how these numbers are in the 70s, but 76% of the people were polled stating that this economy is going in the wrong direction. Well, if people are saying the economy's going in the wrong direction, if you remember yesterday, 70% of the people want the border closed, over 70% of people want a voter ID. Why do you think our representation is not doing that for us? It's because they've pretty much been bought out, and so our representation is not representing us anymore. Now, I believe that electoral college is the best way because it gives states power when they're smaller compared to some of these big cities and these big urban areas like California, New York, and so forth. But one thing I do believe, if you put some of this stuff in populist votes, especially across statewide, term limits and the fact of border closings and the fact of making sure we have honored, make sure we don't have any lobbyists in Washington, you'd be surprised that I imagine they would all win in landslides. But because we have a bad leadership and the fact that we're spending like crazy, it's making everything go bad. And it's actually making the middle class go away, becoming either lower class, and then of course all the money is floating right back up to the establishment. So therefore you're building a lords and serfs. I've said this plenty of times. Now, what am I doing with my money? This is what I did this year. 2024, I spent a lot of money on my farm. I invested in bartering goods, and I invested in prepping goods, and I invested in real estate, like my own personal real estate, my farm. So I had to buy a tractor. I bought a tractor. I told you I bought an older antique vehicle that we restored a little bit, and its value is went up. I bought things that brought value to the land and tangible goods. I bought some gold, I told you that. So anything that I could tangibly put my hands on. I could put my hands on this grass, I can put my hands on these barns, I can put my hands on a new tractor. Anything that can bring value to more independence and sustainability here on farm, that's what I invested in for 2024. Now, I've told my wife we always do major planning when it comes to where we're gonna put our money and things like that. So because we have a good bit of stockpile and good bit of prepping needs, we've bought a lot of things that we needed. So 2025 is our goal of year of growth of funds, year of growth of assets, year of growth of money management, meaning we're going to diversify ourselves to keep on buying gold. We're also going to make sure that the money that we have in our retirements right now, they've been sitting in money market accounts because I don't want exposure to the markets. I'm looking for better quality CDs. I'm also putting up a good bit of cash. I want to stockpile cash. Now, I personally don't like crypto. If you like crypto, look at some crypto options if you want to. Again, for me personally, I don't like it. So I've bought some tangible gold. I've also put some money in gold mining stocks and things like that. Now, that's all personal opinions. Go talk to someone who is a specialist or professional in this situation. So what I did is I invested in myself for 2024 and our family. 2025 is our goal is now to build up our wealth back. Now, we added on to our home this 2024. Well, we've already talked about it. We're not doing any other projects when it comes to our home or our farm, really, that's big investment, because our goal now is to, we've stockpiled goods, we've stockpiled tangibles, now we're going to stockpile as much money as we can. Now, we're in very good financial shape. We budget, we don't spend a lot of money, we only use cash, and we don't have credit cards or any debt. So now our goal is to say, okay, what can we put our money in that is valuable? Well, we did, like I said, the tangible goods. We did it ourselves. Now we're going to keep looking at good conservative business moves, and that is our goal for 2025. Now, that might not be your plan. Your plan may be the fact that you need to pay off debt. So pay off debt. Your plan may be, I need to put more prepping goods up or more stockpiles of food and 2A rights and things like that up. That's what you need to do. You need to build that plan now so 2025 it can be implemented. Now let's go on to the other two stories that I want to bring up. This has just come out from CIA. They warned of a potential grid attack. Now, I told you about this, I don't know, it's been a few months back, and nobody really brought attention to it. No big deal. But I think this is something we need to talk about. It says, if your lights go out and your family is without power, what will we do? Listen to this. A CIA director stunned with a stern warning. It says, an attack on America's infrastructure would put a blackout of national grid and other life-sustaining critical infrastructure problems for over a year. Because remember, we don't have a backup transformer system. We don't have a backup energy plan. Now, see, if I was government, I would make sure that we had everything we needed to put a power grid back on to make sure it's independent. Right now, all those parts we buy from overseas. Isn't that crazy? And a lot of those big transformers and a lot of those big grid manufacturing goods come from China. So if someone attacks our grid, it said it would put us back in the 1800s almost of where we'd be in capabilities. No communication. Actually, Elon Musk came out and said Starlink would be okay during an EMP or a grid attack. That's huge because communication would still be up. That's how these war zones are actually communicating, is through Starlink, and also how a lot of these areas that have been catastrophically damaged, like Asheville and those kind of places, Starlink. So that is a good thing to have. But it says blackout of this capacity. Listen to this. It would kill or harm 9 out of 10 Americans from starvation and societal collapse. Did you see in LA, Los Angeles, just the other day, the Dodgers won, meaning their team won the World Series, but they still burned the flipping city down, stole, looted, and robbed people. Busted cars, tore them up. So that was in celebratory manner, which is completely like animals. But if we did this on the opposite, where things got bad, how much worse would it be when there's no medicine, when there's no communication, when there's no food, when there's nothing to loot left? 9 out of 10 Americans would be affected by this. It says, in fact, attacks on 9 of the nation's 55,000 electrical substations could result in a coast-to-coast blackout that could be 12 to 18 months. It definitely overall. Now, they said some grids would come up quicker because they have a little bit better independence. But they're saying for the most part, average would be 12 to 18 months. If we ignore this warning and ignore the fact of cyber attacks and EMPs and the physical danger of this, then what we're doing is we are just looking like a sheep headed to slaughter. So make sure you are doing some things to put some goods up. Now, I have solar generators, solar batteries, and solar chargers. We keep those in shields to keep them safe. We also want to make sure that we have an automobile that is very old and mechanical, so we don't run into those same issues as well. It's one of the things we talked about investing in. So we have 1, 2, 3 cars that are older and fully mechanical, that if we needed to utilize them, not that I hope to drive those and not that I hope we have a grid collapse, but we have the capabilities of maneuvering and getting somewhere safe in these automobiles. So that's why we stockpile gas. That's why we make sure that we're always stockpiling cash. That's why we're always making sure that we even have things like Starlink, because this could be very important one day. And this comes from the fact of a big former CIA advisor saying, this is real. Our grid is vulnerable. Now, you've seen those substations and power stations. What are they guarded with? One little cyclone fence with a little twirl up there. Did you know that cyber attacks are happening more and more that can affect that grid? Did you know that someone could literally go in there and do something to that substation and would put out a big part of the power? Don't believe it can't happen. Blackouts are a serious thing and you need to be prepared for it. 9 out of 10 people would suffer or die in the situation of starvation, medication, and societal collapse. And last story, this was shared by Mario Nafal. He says, EU warns of a nuclear nightmare. The European Union is urging people to prepare for potential nuclear threats, cyber attacks, and chemical warfare. They recommended that households stockpile at least 3 days worth of essential goods to prepare so you would not have to be on the streets, and make sure you are having things that, listen to this, are preparedness for emergency-related armed conflicts. That's bold speak. The report was from former Finnish President Sauli Niinisto. I probably butchered that name. Also emphasized the need for enhanced military readiness. Now, he was saying towards Russia. Now, I want you to listen to this. Russia has a missile that is capable of hitting Paris within 10 minutes, hitting California within 30 minutes. That is what the alleged speed is. Not only that, listen to this. North Korea test launches ICBM capable of hitting the U.S. within record-setting flights as well. They said could be within the hour as well. So if something like that was aimed at our grid or at one of our states, what will we do? Are you ready? Are you making sure that you have preparedness? Because even if it hits somewhere far away from you, you don't think that would impact your society around you? People go crazy when there's a shortage of water and bread and things like that in a hurricane, and they're not anywhere near the hurricane. I mean, like when the situation was happening in North Carolina, people were stockpiling stuff in Texas, in Arkansas, in Missouri, Mississippi. Now, some of those goods were being transferred up there, but some people were just going crazy. Like our Costco, that's about an hour and a half away, there was lines. They showed pictures of lines of people trying to get in the door because of chaos. If you had these things, kind of like they were saying 3 to 5 days, which I would say a whole lot more than that, but if you had preparedness already done, like we talked about for this last year, you need to make sure that you are putting up goods so you won't be in the turmoil. Because if you have to turn around and be the gray man in societal collapse and you have to go out, that's going to be very dangerous for you. And you're going to put yourself in a very vulnerable position and also your family back at home. And again, talking about this kind of situation where we're worried, I mean, it's like this election. It's so polarizing. You have people in Washington, D.C. right now, in bigger cities that are boarding up, liberal cities that are boarding up their businesses in the downtown areas and in the urban city areas. Last night, a shooting in Orlando. Somebody went crazy at a Halloween event. Now the story, I don't know actually what happened, But this kind of stuff is happening when there is no problem, quote unquote problem, and there's no societal collapse. When you see the fact that elections make people go crazy, or a World Series game makes people go crazy, what do you think a cyber attack on our grid would do? What do you think a missile shooting at some target that's either one of the states or one of our friends, what would it do? It would cause panic. My goal for you is to plan this month, this year, the rest of this year, 2025, to start preparing the best way you know how. Build a plan. I've lists all on my phone of plans of what we need to do, where we need to go, when we need to do it. If you want to know those playlists, go back and watch some of them. I got some for Costco, some for Walmart, some for buying offline. There's some that just talk about the things that you need to have for a blackout attack, for something like a nuclear issue. Start thinking about some of that stuff. You can't play games anymore because we're living in a crazy world with weak leadership. The key is we've always lived in a crazy world. We've always lived with dictators and people who are evil. The situation is we always had stronger leaders and a stronger foothold into the world. Now America is looking weaker because our leadership, our dollar, and the fact that the people that's leading us is wanting us to be subpar to where we once were when we were great. Let's make America great again, guys. Okay, before we wrap up this video, the winner of the shirts, the mud water giveaway, and also some soap and a few more little goodies from us at the Max. The winner is going to be Misha Williams. Misha Williams, you are the randomly selected person who won for the month of October. Your handle is Misha Williams 2571. If this is just you, please reach out to us via email. We're going to get the sizes for you and all your family. We're going to send some shirts to you and also get your address. Remember, we won't reach out to you on YouTube, so just please reach out to us via email. Make sure you get in contact with us. We'll reach back out and confirm everything and get these goods and prizes to you. Thank you so much for watching. Pay attention to the financials. Get your money out of these banks that are trying. I think of Warren Buffett pulling all his stock money out of Bank of America. I wouldn't be putting money in national banks right now. If you heard me just the other day, I made a comment that said, our credit and banking situation is worse now by 8 times than what it was when the market fell out in 08. Let that sink in. Guys, thank you for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this video. God bless.